Mary Ainsworth's Attachment Theory Overview. Developmental psychologist Mary Ainsworth was born December 1st, 1913 in Glendale, Ohio. When she was 15, the book Character and the Conduct of Life inspired her to become a psychologist. She received her PhD from the University of Toronto in 1939, joined the Canadian Women's Army Corps in 1942, and then moved to London after getting married to Leonard Ainsworth. In 1950, she collaborated with Wolby and his emerging ideas on infant-mother attachment. In 1953 to 57, she did research in Uganda and published Infancy in Uganda, Infant Care and the Growth of Love. Then she was inspired by this research in 1963, and she conducted a Baltimore project, now known as the Strange Situation Experiment. The Strange Situation Experiment was based on Bowlby's idea that humans are born with a need to form close emotional bonds with caregiver. This experiment entails the separations and reunions of children and their mothers involving a female stranger to see how children deal with negative emotions regarding their mother. The different ways children respond to these situations are organized into 4. When both the stranger and the mom are in the room, securely attached children feel safe with their mother there to explore the room and toys. When the mother leaves the room and the stranger stays, they show distress but are easily comforted by the mom when she comes back. Insecure avoidant children do some exploration with the mom and stranger there, but they may treat or respond to the stranger and their mother similarly. When the mom leaves, they don't show much distress, and when she returns, they may avoid reunion or be slow to greet her. Insecure resistant children do not feel safe enough to explore with their mom and stranger present. When the mom leaves, they show distress and show clinginess or anger towards the mom when she returns. Lastly, disorganized, disoriented children show no clear pattern of behavior when their mom and stranger are there. They may go to her but put away or be curious about the stranger then show fear. When the mom leaves, they may or may not show distress, then confusion about whether to seek comfort from the mom when she does return. There's a lot of further development to the theory, so I will briefly go over 2. First, how in preschool or middle childhood, securely attached people show more positive social, cognitive, and emotional outcomes, and in a similar time, elementary school, insecurely attached people are seen as less socially competent. Connections have been found between these attachment histories with social emotional competency and emotions in future romantic relationships. For example, how securely attached people have shown to experience more positive emotions, while insecurely attached people experience more negative ones. Here are some critiques of this theory. First is that it does not consider culture. Most notably, it's assumed that the caregiver is going to be a female when that is not always the case. Some households also have multiple caregivers, and sometimes it's the grandparents that take care of the kid. Also, interpretations of attachment styles may differ. Part of dealing with negative emotions as an insecure avoidant person is that you're going to be self-reliant, which might be a positive in some cultures that prioritize resilience and independence, but a negative in those that value collaboration and community. Secondly, it does not consider individual family circumstances. Let's say you're conducting a research in the U.S. whose history of racism has led to minority groups to have a lower socioeconomic status, and not as much time to spend at home with their children. Findings that state minority group children are less securely attached than white children can be misleading without proper context. Lastly, children are very different, and what may work for one child might not work for the next. This theory places a lot of responsibility or blame on the caregivers to make sure that their child is securely attached without considering other factors like child temperament, who the child interacts with, SES, and so on.
So expanding upon the theory's limitations brought upon more recent research in regards to attachment. So the SSP, or the Strange Situation Procedure, had no mention of measuring attachment after childhood, had very narrow interpretations of attachment styles and types, and also failed to account for multiple primary attachment figures in the child's life. One of the first psychologists to further develop Mary Ainsworth attachment theory was Mary Main and her colleagues. So they developed the Adult Attachment Interview, or the AAI, in which it was a semi-structured interview in which participants were asked to reflect on their childhood and how they thought attachment influenced their adult life. Their answers were recorded verbatim and was based according to a coherence scale in which overall coherence and believability of their narrative judged their 4 classifications of attachment, which was secure, dismissing, preoccupied, and unclassifiable because of trauma. This was time-consuming and very complicated to score, in which extensive training was required. So, alternative assessments of attachment were developed according to a Likert scale. And these 6 alternative assessments are listed below. So, because there was no universality of this, the ANQ was developed, which was the attachment network Q sorting for attachment style with differing multiple attachment figures. This is commonly used in therapy, and it evaluates the participant's mother, father, and partner relationship. This included having to assign items in a ranking order and having to judge their importance in relative to each other. This resulted in 4 classifications of attachment, which included secure, insecure for their father, insecure for their mother, and insecure for both their mother and father, but not their romantic partner. Here is an example of how their 226 items were scored according to attachment. So some additional SSP limitations included no mention of diverse cultural norms, an overemphasis on the relationship between the mother and child, and little to no regard to community well-being. Because of this, a more holistic approach to early relational health needed attachment to grow. So early relational health, or ERH, was based on the indigenous views of attachment, or two-eyed seeing, in which everything and everyone is interconnected, has a purpose, and is worthy of respect. They highly emphasize the socio-cultural context of the child, in which it takes a village to raise someone. This is based on the idea that the societal structures and ideologies and cultural humility and compassionate curiosity are extremely paramount to understand and how to develop attachment.
I'll be looking at the application overview for attachment theory. Within family structures, different family structures will have different interaction style with the baby. Lower socioeconomic status may influence the primary caregiver to have less attention and sensitivity towards the baby. Geographical locations reveals the resources and the culture that the family locates in. And for cultural values, it matters a lot because as a Chinese student, I was experiencing extended family instead of traditional family. And the goal for the extended family was for me to become more obedient, whereas a traditional family in Western culture may seek independence of the child. Supports and intervention at different levels. At individual level, we have emotional focused therapy, which focus on rebuilding trust and intimacy through the analysis of emotions. Attachment-based therapy focus on the past experience, for example, early on attachment styles or traumas to improve relationships and gain secure attachment. Family therapy discovers and improves interaction between members and provide a stable and supportive environment. Educating the parents is important as well, as it aims to consolidate their reflexive ability and sensitivity level. We need to reinforce the importance of satisfying 30% of children's needs to form secure attachments. Within the society, we need to raise awareness for mental health for all families, and also we can have free workshops or mental health services. An example for free workshops can be group sessions for the parents to go over their ideas for child caring. For future directions and revisions, we can focus on cross-cultural studies, which focuses on extended family instead of the traditional family. And for non-traditional family, we can also focus on foster family or same-sex parents. Revisions for the attachment theory can be incorporated with the ecological theory. We can consider other impacts from the environment, for example, school and community. And we can also focus on plasticity of the attachment style and how later events may correct flaws in attachment styles. Extend the theory to become more applicable to other families outside of Western culture and the mother-baby relationship as well. The final critique, through this strange situation, Ainsworth presents the difference between secure, avoidant, resistant, and disorganized attachment styles to illustrate the importance of interactions between the baby and the primary caregiver. However, this theory primarily focuses on Western middle-class families and mother-baby scenarios. It will require a lot more research and considerations regarding diverse culture and complex family structures as well.